All right, everyone. Good morning. Sorry about the delayed start. Had a little internet, just had to get the internet kind of restarted this morning. I'm still even a little bit under the quality I'd like to be at, but it's okay. Everything's building and growing. It's part of the process. But welcome to NPR Designs weekly marketing hour. Um, Today we're going to be talking about kind of just contrasting designs and design styles and where trends are going. And I don't necessarily always say jump on a trend one way or another, but you also just need to know what's going on. And this is more than a trend, it's a style. If you'd overall pick it for luxury, you'll see it a lot, but at the same time, it is kind of where everything is going. So we'll be getting into that here in a little bit. We'll do a little recap. One, I am competing for impact for entrepreneurs competition. It closes tomorrow, so anybody who can get in those last votes, we'd obviously would appreciate it. We are very thankful to be able to compete. We do a lot of good work, and we look forward to being able to hopefully compete at the higher levels where it comes down to more business dexterity versus just votes. But that is part of the process. How much impact can you make? Votes is part of an impact process or a measurement. So if anybody has any extra time or want to contribute, you can go to my profile and give me a free vote. You have to have Facebook, but that's okay. Um, we also got an email yesterday. I'm trying to pull up. Couldn't remember. 50 pros. We got another spring recognition for best in the industry. We got top firm in 2026, but I guess we somehow have made a specific subcategory for spring. But that's, I mean, it's congruent with we've had a lot of really good projects go. We've had a lot of websites just launch, and they've been super successful. So definitely making some waves there. Can't really think of anything else. We have a lot of good stuff coming. I'm gonna try to get this up on Facebook as soon as possible. I genuinely just have to research and understand how to connect the WebEx not to YouTube, connect it to Facebook, and or if it can all stream together, that would be awesome. I just haven't had time to allocate to that. Um, on top of creating the new content for every week, now I got to go back and make all the clips of the old content. I definitely enjoy it. It's just time consuming. So we'll try to get to, getting this over to Facebook. And we're still in a good amount of time where we're like building the content. So even if I get to like episode 10 before I do that, I'm okay with that. I would like there to be a decent amount of content for people to go back and be able to review in their own time for their own questions. But we'll at least, you know, start here. So today we're going to be talking about silent selling. And and what silent selling is like it's a little less in your face. We're definitely going to see that more reserved design, a lot less is more attitude. I like to take a less is more attitude towards things. Once they get too complicated, it gets lost, or you create more places where someone might not understand you. So definitely the less is more theory is something that I heavily rely on. I heavily will tell my customers as well. So with silent selling, or what this is talking about, it's talking about that, you know, that graphic with like just the watch in the middle. So, like I said earlier, you see these a lot of luxury brands. I apologize. Luxury bags, luxury designer bags are known for this type of style structure. You can see it a lot in hotels. Um, The and there's actually a psychology behind it. So we'll get into the depths of the psychology in the later fashion, but right now we're just kind of laying out what that design looks like. Over time, we've been told that like the louder you are or the more attention you can draw, the more urgency maybe you have, um, is how you can like maximize your sales. But is it? But is it? You know, there are some times where again, less is more. So by saying less, by doing less, can you incentivize that customer to push themselves down? Do you have a product that is of quality that it's going to be pushed down the line and they're going to finish that sale? Where a lot of the times you can construct things like this, but it might not have the same return. You know, a little bit things being a little bit of elusive to the eye is a good thing. Uh, so I'm going to bridge it into sensory overload, and I'm going to tell you one marketing thing that I have seen firsthand that I disagree with. Um, but the problem is it's sensory overload. Especially, you have to understand. I'm going to take that most of this is being put on social media, right? Your day to day graphics are going up on social media or some sort of platform where it's being posted. You need to understand that you are one of the thousand that they saw that day. And so they are already sensory overloaded. When, and this is where Instagram sometimes can be a little bit better. Instagram is completely content based. It has not, I'm sorry, picture based. The content I meant was pictures, images. And it's all images based and it's not as text based. And the reason why is when they're scrolling, like things that do really well in the algorithm are things in motion, like people doing real things. You don't see a lot of like ads. Like if you have a post that's like very addy, and I can even say like my posts are addy. I'm trying to sell the services for anybody who sees it, and all the information be there for if it interests them. But so my attack on it is different. But yes, mine very ads, so it doesn't do well on Instagram. If I mean, I just don't think like anybody seeing me typing on a computer thinks that that's cool at all. So I'm not gonna bother you. Maybe if we have some awards or something coming up, of course, those would be like really nice moments to be able to. And we do get our awards. We just don't necessarily like, at least in the marketing and digital interface, putting it up on our website is essentially the same thing as showing up to the show for one night. So it's kind of a badge of honor, and that's fine. But my Instagram, getting back to my Instagram, very salesy, doesn't do good. When you're scrolling through Instagram, it does a really good job with having just pictures of things, whether it be a race car, a surfboard, a something doing something, someone singing at a concert. Okay, all of those things do really well because it's kind of like a break. Their Instagram does have ads on it now. You know, Facebook does have ads on it. So people are looking for that break. They're looking for that organic content more than not. And so that's what ties into the silent selling or going into a design style where you're not saying everything. And so my bridge to that is one place that I see get this really screwed up is restaurants. So restaurants do not, and I'll tell you again, and I have someone with many years of restaurant experience who kind of leaned me into this knowledge and understanding, and I do agree now. Do not take a picture of your food every day and put it up on your social media. Don't do it. Don't do it. People are stimulated by, especially when it comes to eating, smell, sight. The last thing is taste. Okay. sight. So when you first see your food, you're like, "Oh, that looks good." But then you smell it. And then the smell starts the salivation for you to eat it. Now the problem is when you put a bunch of stuff up on Instagram or pictures of food on your platform, your customer is getting overloaded with that food, and let's just say it's a fish and chips, because I'm sorry, but like not especially if you're habitually posting pictures of your food. These are the people I'm advocating for. I'm telling you not to stop. I want you to see this perspective. And, when they see your food all the time, the average person's had a fish and chips. So if a fish and chips goes up, and then it's a burger another day, and even if it's the coolest burger in the world, everybody's had a burger. When they see it, they kind of already know what it tastes like because they can't smell it. So when you overshare your food on social media, Facebook or Instagram, what you're doing is you're starting but not finishing the cycle. And people will get so used to or unsensitized by your food, they're going to feel like they've already ate it. Why do they need to come in? And so that's the exact pitfall of what you do not want to happen. You don't want people to feel like they know everything, eat everything, and have ate everything. So there's no reason to come in. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to be like, what's a special fish or something? And then, or we have fresh fish. If I don't know, it really just depends on the situation. But we have fresh fish, but don't say what kind of fresh fish it is. Especially if you're in a place that doesn't have fresh fish a lot. That might not be here in New Smyrna Beach. New Smyrna Beach has a ton of fresh fish all the time. It's what we all live on. But I've lived in a place where if you would see fresh fish on the menu in the Northeast, it's what? Where'd you get that from? So you can definitely just change or gauge how you market the food, but do not let them see everything. Do not put up your special every day. People people it doesn't resonate the same way. When they're looking, you need to have the information. But when it comes to like if we're going to stay on the marketing restaurants like for Instagram, I would be doing events, I would be doing people walking in the door, like a clout. And like you gotta remember your Instagram feeds always come back to these. So with like a slight bit of planning too, and you see it all the time. I don't do it, but you can actually like pick out so that like there's a pattern on what's, and you just need to make sure you plan a little bit in advance. And as long as you do that, you're going to be able to, fill it so that it actually has like a pattern when people would scroll through the page. Yes, mine does not. Mine's a bunch of craziness, but it's okay. I don't do a lot of social media sharing or selling on social media. Most of my customers are like B2B, like really just hands on, meeting people and connecting that way. And so that's where most of my eggs are in my basket. But I do the social media because I do it for my clients, and I do believe that if I'm going to advocate for it or say I can do it, I should be doing it for myself. So it's a small investment that I have to take to get that done. But we do it. But no, I don't invest a lot of time in it. Please, please don't come for me. The design boards. Please don't come for me. The algorithm. I'm sorry, but I just don't care. So getting back to sensory overload, so that's the problem. It's our 1 in 100. You gotta remember when they're flipping through, play a game. When you're flipping through your feed, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, make sure you're on the normal feed, not the friends feed where you get the ads. If you want to put some time to it, 5 minutes, scroll, see how many times you see limited time, act now, don't miss, book here. Something that's like it seems like a sense of urgency word, but when it's paired with a bunch of other ones just like it doesn't hit the same way. It doesn't. So do that on your own. See how many times you get sold in a short amount of time, and see how unstimulated you've came to it. Like you're actually going to bring presence and your what's what I'm looking for. Like you're going to be analyzing and you're going to take note of how many times it happens. And so I think you would be surprised once you kind of step back and look at it that way. Once you're brought into presence, you'll see why on at least the social media we want to start pulling back from that because we want to be going towards something a little bit more stimulating, and by providing people more of like a nice place to like something that's like comfortable, alluring, it brings them in but they don't feel pressured. I think it's going to have a lot more um I think that's where things are going to go here. Well, at least for a short amount of time, and that might change again. um so the power of the pause. Sorry, reviewing my notes. And that's what I was kind of, again, this was that was a great bridge. So we are all overstimulated in our day. 100%. We're trying to fit a 10-pound bag of rice in a 5-pound bag every single day. And so the response to the stimulation, the marketing, like that sense of urgency. I'm making a very general statement, okay? Because that's just like a very general, oh, it needs to have a sense of urgency. And it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. What I'm saying is we are so overstimulated over the years by so much sense of urgency. What has now happened is people don't react the same. They don't. They're like, act now? No, I'll act when I feel like it. So it doesn't work the same way. And they're not being bratty about it. But the thing is that they know that time is on their side. They have come to the understanding now, well, if it ain't gonna be you, there's 5 other products that are just behind it, just like it. And that's changed the let's put a little bit more of the power back into the people, the buyer and the consumer. So if you're still using old ways in a new place, and I'm not saying get rid of the old ways, I'm saying we need to figure out what the new place, the new sense of urgency is, or how you, I mean, again, I think it's clout based. I think that the who's who is kind of like, it's kind of like a new QVC model. Um, if you wanted to look at it like for shopping, but it's a QVC model almost for like people and like who you know and the products. But we no longer react the way we did to more more standard marketing. So this type of the silence of selling, or the negative space that we want to get comfortable with right now, sometimes that's the strongest thing because it gives the viewer, the customer, actually like an interruption. It gives them a break. It um love to just, I want to pull something up because I totally know how this goes. I'll find exactly what I need. So it's like just ads, 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 ads. Trying to find someone just like chilling. Ads, comedy. Comedy's good. Comedy's good. I just want a really pretty picture. Still ads, ads. And I'm just toot, 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 toot. So, like, this happens to be a proposal picture, but it's 100% perfectly what I wanted to say. There's no words, there's no nothing. It's two beautiful people. I'm so sorry. I'm hoping that enough of your face was out, but um Madison, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But when I came across it was calming. I was being sold to every other time. How long did it take me to get there? How many did I go through? 20 posts? And I'm not saying they're not good. They're 100% to what they are. But there was a different feeling when I got here. Like there was a it even made me want to go through more. Give me more. Oh, beautiful. Our hands are gorgeous. Anyways, and if you can pull that towards your brand, you're going to see a change, especially if you are positioned to be that brand. If you're in a luxury thing, you have a luxury product, you have luxury services, you can definitely play in the negative space a little bit more. And you actually find that the money will go up. I know it's very counterintuitive, but it does every single time. So just to put it into bullet points, what silent selling looks like is less text, fewer buttons, more spacing, a clear focus point, and a slower pacing. So, like, just not so busy. Like, it's definitely gonna have like that soft, warm. What it does psychologically is it actually creates relief in a person. It builds that curiosity about the thing. Like, again, we don't want them to think that they've already ate your food. It signals confidence. Someone who's the average person that's rambling on about nonsense, is trying not to cover something up, but is technically a little bit more insecure. It's typically the person that sits in the room that says a little bit less, but when they do place their words, so they're very powerful, that's going to signal that confidence. And you can do the same thing in your ads and your marketing. And it overall feels premium, feels luxury. Where it's where the luxury design, I'm gonna call it standard. I don't There is no standard, but a lot of people have like there's definitely a theme. And like with premium and luxury, it's always been very less, very this is the product, this is why it's the product, and and a Louis Vuitton bag doesn't need to be spoken for very much. And that's after years and years of marketing and brand building and brand recognition. But now that they're there, yeah, no, you can just put that on a black back or a red background, and it's gonna sell for $400. So, um, now I want to get into a little bit of the psychology and the psychology on why people have the reactions that they do. Um, and it's just going to hopefully just maybe give you guys a couple points on how you can look at your customer a little bit different. I'm hoping to just kind of stimulate if you guys are having any issues with like trying to rebrand or trying to try something new for your marketing. This is the reason why silent selling works. And understand it's not for everybody. It's not for every Sometimes being loud, sometimes being crazy, sometimes, like a circus isn't gonna be luxury. Absolutely not. That's not the shtick. You gotta do, which is good. Anyways. So why it works, one, the brain fills the gaps. When something feels incomplete, your brain naturally tries to finish it. That's why when you say less, it actually people lean in more because your brain is automatically built to um it's already built to I apologize. I got an important text message that came across my computer. I apologize. I need to learn how to turn that off when I'm live streaming. Um, so when the brain's trying to fill in the rest, you're enticed by it, okay? And you can even see this, or where I can show you somewhere that doesn't have to do with marketing, is you can read up or you can do an experiment that most people through years and years of reading, your brain actually only picks up the first and last letter of a word and fills in the middle. If it knows about how many letters it is and it knows in the context that it's reading, it's most likely going to fill it in to make you faster, which is awesome. I mean, it's cool, but at the same time, it is a little bit of the that's kind of like the science or like where this comes from is like the brain wants to fill in what it doesn't know. And if you give them everything or overstimulate them, you lose that whole curiosity, that interaction with how it's going to interact with your content. You're just telling it what you are. You're not giving a chance for interaction. Um So instead of we offer high quality, professional, affordable, reliable services you need, we here's something that would be like more enticing or how you change that is we are built for businesses to grow. Growth. What does growth look like to you? Like why when growing can or how in growing what does that look like for your business? It's not going to necessarily be like, oh, now I just am looking for high quality. I'm just looking for someone professional. I'm just looking for someone affordable, or I'm just looking for someone reliable. You completely constrict yourself, and you don't even know if those are buzzwords for the customer that you're being put in front of. But saying we are built for businesses to grow. Well, everybody has a business, and everybody wants to grow. So that was very inclusive. Like one of the restaurants I cannot stand is not cannot stand. It's just like when I learned what the name was, I was like, whoa. And let me pull it up because I want to make sure I don't screw it up because I probably will. Okay. So PDQ chicken. I don't know if you've had PDQ chicken. I actually have never had it. It's something that kind of came up in Orlando last couple of years. And what does it stand for? It is BBQ meaning. Hold on. Because I'm going to screw it up. It's been a couple years since I've seen it. Mm, I'm sorry. I should have had this prepared. I forgot about PDQ. Okay. So, remember it being people. But like I said, I can't remember all this stuff. So, PDQ chicken stands for people dedicated to quality. And what does everybody's dedication look like? What does everybody's quality look like? Like it's a fast food chicken joint. I just at the same time like as much as we all want to do quality products, the way that PDQ like they made I don't want to say such a big claim. Like how would you feel if you went to PDQ knowing that and you had a bad experience with the cashier? You'd be like, well, what else? It kind of like puts everything on the line, or at least is what I felt like. Um, you can still have a good product. You can still have a quality product. You don't need to put it in your name. You're surely putting a really high bar that you have to get to every single time. So that's kind of maybe like a real world or a, you know, just kind of how to change the you want the brain to fill in the gaps more. You don't want everything to be so concrete. Um Curiosity is stronger than pressure. Curiosity is stronger than pressure. Pressure, I'm going to say right now, pressure might lead to a more immediate sale. Curiosity is going to lead to a customer. So just decide what you want. You got a really good product you're trying to sell all the time. We want curiosity, we want customers. If you are selling something that's like a one time thing and you just need to get it out to everybody, then pressure. And that is still a thing too. Like say if you have a holiday thing and you just need to sell it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not quality. It doesn't mean there's just pa pa pa. It needs to be out the door. So it that would be something I would say do more pressure. Um, but overall, for someone that's trying to create a customer, the moment people feel pushed, they resist. The moment they feel curious, they're going to start to move. And again, the brain is starting to be stimulated. So, what most businesses do, your book now, your limited time, your don't miss out, your act today. Um, we talked earlier about how those aren't hitting the way that they used to. So, with silent selling, what it does is it slows the pace. It removes the urgency language with still giving urgency. You can do it in a different way. There's just certain keywords that have been overused. And it creates interest before action. And so that is huge. Interest before action. So I want to give you some examples that we came up with. Pressure based, okay? Call now for your free quote. Call now. Call now. Call now. No one no one calls now, okay? Um, they know they can call now. It just doesn't hit the same. And I'm not saying that that's not the button to put there. I'm saying that it used to stimulate people a different way. So what you could or would switch it out with is see what's possible for your space. Get in touch. See what's possible for your space. Here's another one. Order today before it's gone. I would love to see those 5 words. How many times in the marketing world it's been used? It's gotta be like top it's gotta be like Bella in the pet dog name. Curiosity based. Design for people who notice the detail. Say you got something that's got a couple hidden features. I mean, crafted with the best, I don't know. You can go so many different ways with it, but like the order today now before it's gone, it just even me sitting here now, it doesn't feel as urgent. And it could be like my urgency on how I handle it. But the thing is I do not think that I think people just scroll right past that. I think they will already have the intent to call you if they're going to call you. And it's going to be built through more of an authoritative and proof based product. If they like what they see, they're going to call you. It would just be nice if those buttons were more alluring than like instructive. Um, so we want to activate thinking. Pressure activates kind of the defense system if they're not fully in it to start. Where you kind of want to be using these are like buttons, headlines, ads, landing pages, depending on, how many landing pages, if you have them set up for um, specialized customers and things along those lines. When you stop pushing the sale, you definitely start pulling attention. Um, and then the silent selling is signaling that confidence. So we're going into the next point. The louder something is, the more it's trying to convince you, the quieter it is, the more it feels like it knows its value. We talked about this a little bit more earlier. So I just want to get through the examples here. Looks like fewer words, stronger statements, less justification, no over explaining, clear focus points. The example is, here's kind of a low confidence statement. We are a trusted, reliable, affordable experience company with years of experience. And as much as you are, you are that person. That's not the best way to say it. If you would say something like trusted by the community for 15 years, providing impact in Volusia County for, let's say you've always been there for a lifetime. That could be lawyers or like voting things. So you just shorten it down and just be a little bit more confident about it. In designs, large margins, minimal text, focal points, and clear typography. I love script. I love script typography. I am a beach girly. I love it. They don't sell. People can't read it. You can't. You just can't. I mean, there is even someone who's doing something on like court things, and the one judge, he has like a script thing that he puts over his face or like right behind it with like the title or something. And you cannot read it. It's not a scripty font, cannot read it. I've even tried to read it. I've actually tried to take time to be like, what does that say? Cannot read it. So script, go away. Clean typography. Clean, clean, clean. And I'm not saying have something that gives it a flavor. Leave it for the hints of color. Do not overuse it. Here are some questions that you can ask, if you're kind of like wondering exactly where you might be with that or something. So, are we trying to prove too much? Are we over explaining the problem? Are we oversharing the concept? Are we do we have a clear path we want the user to go down? That's another thing. Like, what are they doing? How are they doing it? And how are they getting there? Is that clear? Like, you can't just put stuff out without knowing why you want them to go somewhere. Strategy, strategy, strategy. The best marketing always comes back to a thought out strategy. So definitely confidence does not explain itself, it presents itself. You can still tell and you can still use your words, but remember that person that sits in the room that's a little bit more quiet but then places their words with power. That's the person that's exuding confidence in that room. Visual relief builds trust. Into the next point. When something feels easy to look at, it's easier to trust. When you don't give them a lot of work to do to understand, they already see that you guys are communicating, or the product or the service is something that they need or can entrust. Like, you guys are communicating that way. They understood what you were trying to say. They might have saw 4 other roofers that day that it just didn't hit the same way. So when we kind of break it down, we want to build that trust just kind of through simplicity. And so what happens in cluttered designs, there's too many colors, there's too many back buttons, too many sections, and a lot of movement normally. I've seen over the years, like the websites really have all of that movement coming in. I have tried to pull that a little bit back. I think it's a little distracting, and it does cause a lot of pitfalls for loading errors. So I try to use the least of it, even though I think sometimes it does bring or draw a warm effect, or it definitely can bring attention to a certain piece if it's that important. Um, when you have all of those moving pieces, you're creating stress, confusion, and genuinely decision fatigue. Like people are getting bared down with decisions every single day, all the time. So when you need to make a decision, then you need to make it with confidence and quickly. So what happens with the space when when you have that visual relief, those margins, um, the eye knows where it's going to go. It's going to go to that clear set focal point. It's not analyzing the entire thing, trying to figure out what it needs to take from it. Um, it's going to feel like the message is clear, and the experience is going to feel calm. They're not going to feel overloaded. They're going to feel like they're going to be able to sit back and process a little bit. Like, not everything is going to be right in your face. You're going to get a chance to process it. And once you process it, you're going to be able to make a decision on if you want to buy this product or go with that service. So, like, clutter pages are like 5 services, 3 banners, 4 TAs, constant scrolling. So, like, you want to get a little bit away from having super long web pages or super long, you don't want to have a social media post that has like 3 products on it. You want to do one product and you want to highlight it. So your clear pages are kind of like one headline, one focus, one action. They're each for a purpose. And as much as yeah, and look more at your landing pages, like your specialized landing pages. You just don't want them to be too much. You want them to kind of get in and get out in theory. You want to have like a really clear plan of where and how they get to whatever your key point is, whether it's make a lead, make a sale. It looks different for everybody, but to get them there, you want it to be quick, efficient, and you want to have a really clear on what the user's interface will be. So if you'd go to your website, flyers, menus, ads, you can kind of look at it anyways. These are some questions you would want to ask yourself to be able to kind of like see if it's a place for improvement for you. So ask like what can be removed. Like, is anything on it? I apologize. That's not 100% needed, and say can it be removed, like if we would start tapering this away. What's competing for attention? So that's a big thing, is like if you don't play it right, a button and a headline can conflict for mental space. So you have to look at that, and like what actually matters, like buy this thing, like what are my non-negotiables, hills to die on, what are the things I need to grab, and they need to take the attention, or they are the most important point, like everything needs to lead them to here. And so that's kind of overall the thoughts or the psychology behind why silent selling works. But again, silent selling is not for everyone. So you really just got to look at your brand. And of course, if you guys need any help, you reach out to MPR Designs, and our firm will, pair you with a designer and help you get through that. I work with a lot of the clients, so hands on, and delegate a lot of the I don't call it busy work. I've built the logos for years. I can use my time otherwise. And I have really great people that work for me. So we'll get you paired up, get you taken squared away. So I had, and this was actually a while ago. I actually think I used one of her questions before. Yes. Sorry, all of my notes. So what we're gonna do is we'll talk about this one. She sent it in a while ago, but it worked here. So I want to talk about it. Lotus nails. Okay. Have we've I pulled the question. I don't remember what she asked, but we pulled her question. Now, Nicole, she has a nail salon. Okay. Or at least from her email, that's what I was understanding. She has a nail salon. We did end up helping her out a little bit. Um, at the time, a couple months ago, she had updated her website, added the service descriptions, did the more photos, alt text, added more booking buttons, added promotions across every page. So, like, she did what she found was going to draw in the attention of the customers. And to be honest with you, especially in the nail salon, investing any time, she was by far ahead of the game. That's one of the hardest. If it's not like an independent person, if it's like something a little bit more large, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if it's not like one person doing like art and it's more of like a turn and burn place, they are cannot sell on the website. I've tried. I mean, I know that I can make things better. I know that I can put in booking systems for nail salons so that their lives are easier. But they have no interest. No interest. They're happy doing what they're doing. So hats off to you for wanting to be better for your customer. Because I don't, they have them. If we build it, they will come. And listen, I will be coming. Things are changing in my life. I will be coming. Yes, no, you don't have to have a fancy website. I'm just going to show up and get my nails done. So, this was one of the things I pulled from testimony, her email. We try to make everything clear by adding more information, but they noticed that it ended up making it feel overwhelmed. And when I did look at it, it was super overwhelming. They had She did a really good job, but it's just like the way with the builder that she was using. She tried to just use all of the features, and we just needed to be tapered back. So, um, she was still getting the calls, and she would still get questions, but she wasn't necessarily getting bookings. And so, her question was like, "Did we make it worse? Was it better before?" And that was where she was kind of looking for some guidance. And I do think you made it better, but we're gonna make it even better. So by upgrading all of this and putting it all there, I loved to hear that she was still getting phone calls, but there was obviously something that wasn't working on the website, like whether it be one, they still had questions. We don't want anybody to have any questions. And two, why didn't they book? Like, why didn't they just take it upon themselves to book? Why are they still calling you? And I'm not saying that we don't want anybody to call you. What I'm saying is like, I can put time back in your pocket. I can put time back in that person's pocket. If the booking is clear and concise and moves and works every time. So this is kind of what I told them and how they fixed their things. They just did a strategy session with me. They didn't even want to take up any marketing. They just really needed, for $100, they got a really good idea of what they needed to do and how to move forward. There was like on the one service page, she had it was all of the manis, all of the petties, Then you're getting into eyebrows and like, yes, it's a service menu, but is the person getting eyebrows getting their nails done? And is the person that's getting their nails done getting their eyebrows done? And then the person who's getting their eyebrows done, do they want to scroll through all of the nails to find what they need to find for $6 or whatever? So there was a lot of choices. Again, she said she put specials on every page. Oh, she surely did. That's why there were so many questions because there were all these specials and it was kind of like different on each page. So there was like a, so wait, what now? Like what? And I saw from her perspective, in her mind, it was all the same because it's like second language. But when you have someone that's looking at it from the outsider, like looking in, you're like, I just don't understand. Like, I understand you understand. I don't understand. I'm just trying to tell you, your customers are not understanding. That's why you're getting so many phone calls. Um, so she went from 0, and I don't wanna say 0, she had a website before, but she padded it with, like she went from 0 to 100, right? And so said, "Let's pull it back to, like, 50, 25%, especially because nails are nails. Nails are nails. It doesn't need too much explanation. It doesn't. You need them to come. You need them to think that it's savvy. You need them to think that the prices are good. Those are 2 very small things that you can website, book. So again, pulling it back. Um, identify cognitive overload. So that's kind of what I'm saying about like, what special should I take? Simplify it. You have one special. Your thing that you're going to pick is going to have a special. You just have to make it more clear. You need to watch for those pitfalls. We're going to make people take on more of a decision than they need. Um, and another place where this goes that I forgot to talk about there for a second is what's the next step? Clear next step. If you have that overload because they don't know what to do, you're gonna lose them. You're gonna lose them every time. You need to have clear steps. Um, if you and this is overall in marketing, and this is really hard for business owners to do, especially when they work the business and they have so much knowledge, is you have to look at everything like you are a customer. Like one of my moments in life, or like one of my biggest career things was I was working for a laser company and I walked into a boardroom and I don't remember, maybe it had to under a month of being there. So I'm absolutely floored by the technology. I'm a nerd at heart. Like the reason why I got into marketing is if you actually get into marketing and get into it well, it's a mixture of math and science. Period. It's science, hypothesis, theories, theses, and then it goes into numbers. How do we prove we did it? Whether it be money, people, like all of our proof factors, most of the time in marketing are very quantitative and not very qualitative. So anyway, so that's a nerd at heart, lasers. Absolutely. I was in mine. Dude, I love lasers. I went and bought one right after I had this job to to put it in perspective. So sitting in the boardroom, we're in there for about a month, and I'm really just getting settled with the technology for the first time. And he walks in, he was just like, everybody knows about this. That's what he said to me. I just said, sir, nobody knows about this at all. I'm like, this is not, you're coming in here as if this laser is common knowledge to the average person, and the average person doesn't even know that this is an option. It doesn't even know that this could do what it could do. People aren't going to put 2 and 2 together. People think lasers, they think Star Wars. Pew, 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 pew. And I'm not, I'm sorry. Don't want to what I'm saying is that what it did and how it functioned I mean, it was like a major, major tool. Like the capabilities of the lasers were just ridiculous with like paint removal, fixing like different adhesions and wonderful product. And he just thought it was common knowledge. And I was like, dude, not common knowledge. We need to make a common knowledge, but not common knowledge. And that was really important. And that's what I would definitely tell any owner is like, you got to drop a little bit the ego. And I don't think he was trying to be egotistical about it. I think he just believed in it so much and it became so much of his investment and stuff in so many years. He only interacts with the majority of people who do have something to do with it or do know of it. But that was not the average. So in his world, it did look like most people understood it. But in the real world, no. And like you I think the average business person can step out of that and just kind of look and understand how they're being perceived or what people understand about what they do. So, getting back to the nails, okay? We know what nails are. We need prices this. So, what I told them to do was cut back. I showed them, I'm like, you need rid of this, you need rid of that. Watch. People, now when I come to this page, I know I go here, here, here. Like literally draw like sometimes I will take and I have not done this in a while because I am a little bit later in my career. But like there were times, I used to draw out. Okay. So and I'd be like, okay, I want them to come down through the hero section. In the hero section, I want to do something that's gonna entice them. So it's there's step one, I'm piquing the curiosity. Okay. But here's a button. Here's a button in case they want to just buy. That I already know, right? But then I'm gonna go to two. Two, I gotta tell them a little something more about this thing. I don't know what it is, but we're telling them more. Okay. They need to know the stuff. So I piqued the curiosity. I'm giving them the one-liners. Okay. Three, video, right? And maybe the text is hyperlinked to get them to buy in case the decision's made here at this level. Here, video. Maybe I need to hit someone who's more visually stimulated, seeing it in action. Again, you can hyperlink it or whatever. But then again, we were trying to keep it simple. So step four, I think I'm doing that because I'm looking in the mirror, but it's not working. Step four would be like the actual products or what I was trying to sell. And really, I don't, three, four steps. If you can do it in two, wonderful. Um, but you also have to understand there are people that are stimulated by different things. You got visual learners, you got people that'll visually buy, you have people that'll buy um, because of who else, your clout-based buyers. Um, Everybody buys different. And so when you build those pages and stuff, your customer comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. How do you manage both? Like how do you sell to all and keep your brand the way you want it and also be able to talk to many different types of people? And that's really for you guys to really sit and think about. Like that's what I have to sit and think about for at least when I'm building websites. Like not everybody's the same. I'm gonna try to, you know, somewhere in between keep the brand, but at the same time, make sure we're accommodating everyone as much as we possibly can. So, I'm gonna just give you a couple questions on if you would want to kind of extend in on your thoughts on this. Um, like when you go on your website, does it feel overcrowded? Like, is there a lot going on? Are you trying to explain everything at once? Remember, like, you got to section out the information. You got to, I don't know, I want to call it breadcrumbing because that's not like a good one, but like, it's usually a pretty negative connotation. But like, just give them a little, bring them into the sale. Don't, bah, 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 bah. No one likes that sales guy. No one likes a sales guy that approaches you in the fucking mall. No, don't come up to me. Stop. If I look at you, or I'm here shopping, I will walk up. I will buy some. That's why I'm here. So, where could you be simplified? What things could be simplified? Whether it even just be like how much your Facebook posts or how your Facebook does post. Like, you'd be surprised what little things could change it. What could you remove instead of add? And start changing your thought process if you want to get towards more silent selling. I would say, or at least how I've been successful with a silent selling or coming up with those type of designs. And I've not I kind of called it more minimalistic. Like I've the silent selling, I like it for the episode and maybe I'll use it here in the future, but it's kind of something it's newer coined. Something I don't use very often. I would call it minimal design over the years of my career. So when I still do those though, I will let anybody know I get it all out on the paper. I do like everything I'm thinking typically makes it on that design first, and then I go back and remove. Do not do it. I do not try to go into it with less because then that ends up being missing. Something that's missing. Once you put all the things you want to say out on it, you say, how do I say it without saying it? But it's all there. So then you have to, where if you're just like, I'm trying to be brief, it's not going to be as thought out. So like, definitely get your thoughts out on the design, and then start tapering back when it comes to minimalistic or your silent selling designs. You'd be surprised. Um, Silence is not empty. It's where curiosity is started, and it's where like attention lives. When you, I'm gonna call it pad the room properly. So when you have a proper silent selling, simple, minimalistic design, people are going to 100% understand what you're trying to get across to them. But what happens is they personalize it to themselves. You leave like grow your business. If you like, I do niche of small business. Every one of my customers has a business. But if I would say lawyer, say landscaping, say this, well, I've only pivoted myself into those holes. So with silent selling, less is more. And I say less is more when it comes to any design, but especially with that one, you want like less, less, less. So you want them to fill in the blanks. And as long as you pad the room, you make sure that there's an understanding of what that blank needs to be, whether it just be business, like enter your business, but it's a business that we're talking about, okay? You will be able to sit in that silence. You're going to be able to be confident about it because the understanding is there. And that most likely will lead you to customer lead sale, kind of whatever you're trying to achieve. But let's get into some questions. I got us at an hour and 13, so we'll do like 10 minutes of questions, and I'm gonna close up for the day. I got a busy day. So if nobody's asking any questions, then at some point in time, I'm going to ask some people to come on too. Honestly, I'm just building myself up to it. I'm definitely starting to get a little bit more comfortable with talking and talking in long format content for like an hour and a half. I hadn't been doing any of that. This is the first time. I can't say that I definitely a consult would easily take an hour or two where I would talk about people's specific issues, which of course it's a little bit easier than this because this is very generalized and it's more just marketing, talking about marketing concepts without having anything concrete to put my hands on, change, show. So it takes a little bit more for me to explain the processes without having something in front. Anyways, it's making me work a little harder at it, and I like it. It's my understanding for the marketing processes, kind of like some of the things I talked about. It becomes more because I still understand, but then for me to have to put it down into notes, right? Structure it, have a flow, have a like I just said with your where are we going? Why much in this is where are we going? What am I building up to with each of these episodes? And I'm learning the concept so much better because there's so many details, I guess, that I don't express or I don't take notice of that I do. But when I'm trying to explain it to someone else, I notice the effectiveness of it and I actually put words to what something to me might feel slightly intuitive. You know, that gut feeling. Like I just have not I don't want to call it intuition. But what I will say is though, is my mother, and I talk about her a lot on a lot of different things. My mom was a hotshot marketing director for years. And my house grew up with designs on the walls. What do you think about this? How does this look? What is it? Like we were very interactive in the marketing in the many business things because a lot of the things that she marketed to were kids. So we were kids at the time, and she was kind of trying to get a kid's perspective. And so we were very involved in a lot of that. And so I call it intuition, but what it is I was just brought up in that field. Things that someone has to learn is not something I have to learn because I've never seen it another way. Everybody did everything to such a professional standard, to such a elevated standard when it comes to just like I grew up watching some really amazing people do some stuff. And that's why these things come intuitively to me is because it's what works and it's what I've seen work over the years. So long story short, we're gonna kind of get into the questions. That was a really good episode. Uh, I hope it helps anybody that's maybe trying to look at things differently. It's tough. I know that you will, if you ever sit down with something that you feel like is overwhelming and you just take like a big red Sharpie, just all the stuff that you would get rid of or you don't feel like is needed, I think that you would just look at the design and you'd be like, wow, it's a whole new lease on life. So, or lease on the business. So definitely get into it, try it. If you need any more help, reach out to me and my firm through email, website, phone, whatever. And we can help you. We can set up a strategy meeting where we actually sit down and kind of go through everything. The strategy meetings are typically paired with the build your budget marketing plans, which NPR Designs, the way that we've structured it is we have certain plans. So we have starter, growth, retargeting. So your starter, you're going to bring me a budget of like $300 to $600 a month. You're going to tell me, hey, my budget's $430 a month. Cool. This is what we can do for $430. This is understand we get what the goals are. This is how we're going to achieve the goals that you've given us for that 400. This is the reasonable expectation on what we're going to pull for that 400. Um, and obviously it kind of grows because then you get into 800, 1200, 800, 1200. Really, we're really moving some stuff. And then I also have packages that are 2000 plus where that's when it's just full on support. We kind of take care of everything. You've outsourced your marketing at that point of time. Um, I can honestly say, don't have anybody at that level right now. I got everybody at the other two levels. And it's mostly because, at least like with small businesses and stuff, like I'm okay with taking on the payload and I'm okay with helping. And I am your biggest cheerleader. But I'm also like, let's say, like, I'm not a baker. I don't know everything about baking. I don't do baking every day to be that witty. So sometimes marketing semi has to be held in house because only you and your employees are also going to understand that culture. Like, I'm not going to be able to if you can explain it to me really well, then yeah. But like market, like being in a marketing position for the restaurant I worked for, being in a marketing position for the laser company I worked for, completely different than how I interact with like my customers and clients. I'm not there every day. I provide them the services and what they need. I can pull the numbers to give them the research on where to target, but I'm not a part of the everyday cloud. I'm not part of the ecosystem. I'm someone who supports that ecosystem. So obviously, we can do the larger plans. I just don't have anybody there. I have people that are in the other two plans in between, and they're really successful. You got to remember, I also do small business. You know, $3,000, $4,000 a month. You can, and I'm not saying we are a large firm too. We can do a lot. Those are just next level numbers. Next level numbers. And sometimes people, when they're investing that much, I don't know, they want to walk into a building, they want to be catered to, and that's fine. It's a huge thing. I just cut all of the jargon. I do have a career goal to have an office, but own the office and not put myself under rent that I don't need right now. So but a lot of people with those higher budgets really are looking for that office and 100 people working in there, and that's fine. Not 100% my customer. My customer is the person where I'm like, we're going to cut the red tape and we're going to get you quality product for the cheapest amount of price possible because we're going to move this train forward. We're going to make impact. We're going to make change. We're going to grow you because through your growth, I grow. You're going to need more work. And at least for, I would say, most of the customers I have, they're local, they just don't need it. They're not national brands trying to sell national numbers, hitting all diet demographics, all areas, all channels of marketing. They're just not. They need enough to pay the bills and exceed that. And we get them there. We get them there. But we don't no, I don't have any national brands. No, that's whatever. One day. One day. All right. Couple questions. Close it out. Um So, submitted by Trevor Mills Roofing. I always feel like our ads need to say every single thing we offer, or people will move on. Is that actually helping, or is that making it harder for people to understand us? Of course, ads I like to ask, um, are you guys doing like a Google ads or just ads? Now, if you're doing Google ads, I would actually say, yeah, you do want to have them each specialized because it's going to put you in front of the person that's looking for that certain thing. Now, let's flip it to like a social media or something we're going to be like touching one person more times, not the Google ads where you have 5 ads out and the person's query is going to pick which one's going to touch them so that it's mostly likely going to lead to a click lead or a sale. But let's say Facebook, Instagram, when you're putting out a bunch of content but it's still coming through that one person, no, especially if it's roofing or something, like you want to do trust build there. Because yes, it's gonna become overwhelming. It'll be like, oh my god, they do this. Oh my god, they do that. Oh my god, they do this. Oh my god, they do that. And they're gonna go, who are they? Where if you're like our family, especially like you have Mills Family Roofing in your email, build the trust, build the authority through the ads. Don't build the service. People, unless you do something so crazy or you do something so different, people understand what putting a roof on entails. And like, understand you're talking about ads, we're not talking about websites. Websites, we're going to want to have all the services so that you're hitting the Google and you're getting searched and it has a good understanding of everything that you have to offer. But like for ads, yeah, build try to maybe turn that towards more of like a trust and authority and like less of like a um we do this and we do that and we do home and we do this and we do that and shingles and gutters and fascia and soffit. No, just slow down. You guys are the best roofers, head to toe. We'll take care of it. You know what I mean? Tip to bottom, top to roof, call it whatever you want to. You know. Simone Carter Skin Studio. I want my website to feel elevated and clean, but I'm worried that if it's too simple, people will think it has less value. How do you balance that? I want to get back to what I talked about when I do this design or when I've done minimal design over the years. Is I think the best way to balance that, or to at least do the experiment, is write everything you want to write. Over spill out on that web page. Put the buttons everywhere. Put things everywhere. Like I mean, like I wish I could tell you over the years, but I swear to God, like when I draw websites, that's what it looks like. A section, that section, text here, box here, picture. But if you would just do that, something like this, or you can do it in your editor, fill it 100% out with everything you want to say, but then pull back what you want to keep. That's how you simplify it, but don't oversimplify it. And here's what I mean by that. When you have all the information there and then you simplify it, you're leaving the most important details. If you do not put them all on the page and you say, I only want to talk 4 times, your hierarchy of thought isn't even going to give you the 4 things that actually need to be on that page. It's not. It's just not. Once you brain dump, and then jump into your custom. Because you gotta remember, that's when you gotta take your hat of Mr. Businessman who knows all my business stuff. And you say, "Oh my God, I know about this watch. This watch is this. It's waterproof." And you write it all on your ad about around the watch, all the buttons, all the everything, all on the web page. Okay, and then you step out. You jump into your new hat, and your new hat is, "I am now the customer. What do I want to know about this product? What are the most important points? What is going to drive me to that sell? What when you limit yourself to those 4 spots, you're going to limit how far they're gonna go, period. You're just it's not gonna be as thought out. There are certain things that will come from the brain dump. So, try that out. Try with your website, try to put everything out on there. See what you think. Skincare, you guys will rock it in silent selling, rock it in silent selling. Yeah, rock it. What you guys like? All right, it's 9 o'clock, so let me go ahead and do my last one. I made up a flyer for one of our services, and I ended up filling every inch of it because I wanted it to feel worth printing. How do you leave space without making it look unfinished? Submitted Daniel Price Property Solutions. Um, I think that's just like, and this is where like the professionals kind of come in, and and it's a mixture of it, it's a mixture of the professionals understanding how that's the design in the flyer is going to be perceived, as well as we understand the relief. The relief that you provide on the page makes what's on the page worth more. So, like, let's take a new newspaper. If you have the front page of the newspaper, you have one of the largest, because newspapers are typically sectioned like this. A little side back. And then sometimes this is a little bit bigger. And then like that. So if you're the main, you have all this real estate. Okay. You're the little sidebar. You got your little sidebar. And sometimes there were just like some main stories, maybe obituaries or something there. Um, so the relief, I'm trying to pull us back to where I was going. When you own the whole thing and you already have this spot. This one's already yours. You got the main space. When you provide the relief and everything, your customer is not going to feel so pressured. I mean, like anytime, I can tell you right now, and maybe it comes from school, maybe it doesn't, but anytime you would get a piece of paper and it was like, here are my questions, but like, you're like, oh my God, that's a lot to go through. Where if you receive something like, here's some mailers, pretend mailers. Let's just these. Okay. So these ones are actually done a little bit better, but I've seen them pretty bad. This is actually one that I would say is probably getting a little overwhelming. Okay. Oh yeah, it's a 2-pager too. Super overwhelming. Look at that. So I got 2 pies. And yeah, you get 2 pies. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of like when you're ordering pies, you know a cheese pizza in that is it's a certain amount. So here's where I say you lessen, right? This whole page feels overwhelming. And on the back, they did a little bit of a better job. See this relief? And still slow. But look at this one. This one's wonderful. Clear, 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 clear. Relief. And this relief leads you with the most important information. Tagline, logo. What does it say at the bottom? Has an address. Very good. Just can't read it backwards. But this relief here makes this information stand out more. And that's what, like, as you get into it more and more, you understand more is that what you think is like negative space, like, oh my God, something needs to go there. No, no, that's what makes this more important. And that takes time to learn. Here's another pizza shop that much better. Relief. So this is actually where they put the postage on this one. But this is a relief here. You have the most important information, the branding, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of mushrooms, a little pointer, you know, give a little call to action here. But this relief, and of course, once your information will be there. This relief makes 1, 2, 3, 4 more important. And these are the bendable ones that you can crack the parts out. Their prices on the back. This one's a little bit more filled, but it's more, it should be filled here. Wonderful job. This is the relief. This is the visual side. This is the information side. So, just look at the difference. So, I'm ending it there because that was good. I've made a mess. Now I have a million flyers on my desk and my brain is not going to work anymore. But I thank everybody for joining us or reviewing this if you get a chance to on your own time when it's most fitted for you. We do this every week, Wednesdays, 7:30 in the morning. Try to get an hour, 2 hours out of it. Somewhere in between, we'll always land. You can always come on, ask live questions if you guys have live questions. We haven't really built the channel to be strong enough yet that we're getting in front of a bunch of people that are bringing a bunch of questions, mostly getting them through emails or repurposing some clients' stories that have given me the approval and everything, but repurpose some information or, you know, maybe stuck a different name on it, but still had something that happened that was similar. So, but we want to obviously transition to more of the live, more of helping people, but there is somewhere in between. This is episode 6, I believe. And so once we get to like episode 10 or so, I'm going to start, like I said earlier, I'm going to start marketing it a little bit more. I needed some time to naturally build the content so that people can go back, like, you know, just realistic marketing. Like my first show, yeah, I'm gonna market it a little bit, but until I can build a little bit of the content and the authority, through doing this and like showing up on time, like even it took a while for me to be able to consistently show up on Wednesdays. And it just was life. The one time like I was sick. And then the week after that, we were putting a new roof on my apartment and you couldn't hear me speak. So like it takes time for those things to also iron themselves out. Definitely getting more consistent. Haven't missed one in a while. And we've built now the content to have a good amount of information. So by episode 10 or 12, I am expected or I'm planning to go a little bit harder on marketing this and hoping to get a little bit more interaction from people. But we're growing and we're somewhere in between and we're getting there. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Happy Wednesday. Need anything, feel free to reach out to me or the firm through the website. I hope everyone